What's up, y'all? It is your favorite podcast, Connecting the Dots, and it's your girl, Kymmy Coco. And today we have Wize Guy ATL, aka Wize, and we follow each other on social media. So if you are on social media, you can follow him at Wize Guy ATL. Is that on all platforms? Are you on Twitter?
I don't mess with Twitter too heavy. It's mostly Instagram and YouTube.
Okay, we're gonna talk about that. I have something to say about that.
Yeah, we
So
can do
we we're just gonna chop it up and see what he's been up to and kind of get into some current events. So if you don't know, he is an artist. He has an album out, and it's on most platforms. You are also an artist of you draw
Drawing paint, yep.
and paint
Mm-hmm.
and education background.
Yep, something like that. Background.
So what's been going on? What are you doing now? What have you been up to?
I've just been doing all matters of building.
Yeah.
Just trying to build, Still working on the music. I also help operate 2 recording studios, one in Decatur, one in the Brookhaven area. So I'm always trying to run business over there. And
What's coming through the studio these days? You see any more rappers, singers?
Oh yeah, we see all of that. All of that. A lot of talent underground. And people forget that hip hop was born underground and it never left. So I hear all kinds of greatness underground.
Yeah. So is there really? See, I'm gonna be honest with you. It's hard to find the underground scene in hip hop because it seems like the major labels and the people that are looking to give deals and the people that are looking to invest in these people, they look on social media now for the person that has the best following, the most traffic, the one that has the most attention. So is there really an underground scene? Is there somewhere that I don't know that exists that underground artists are performing at and doing their business at? You need to put me up on?
I mean, the underground is on social media too.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And
So what's
the artists-
underground? How do you constitute what is underground now? Because once you get to a certain following,
Well, when I think of underground, I don't even mean the sound of the music really. I just meant like where they are in the social hierarchy of mainstream hip hop scene or whatever you would call it. But just people who
aren't like
haven't reached a
being
certain level of
played.
notoriety. That's all.
Yeah.
Once you
Okay.
cross a certain threshold, I think when you're known to a certain amount of people, I think you can be considered mainstream to an extent.
Yeah.
And then you have mainstream, then you have household name.
Right.
And you got to do a lot to get the household name. You got to
Yeah.
do a lot of GOAT stuff.
I'm seeing a lot of people doing a lot of stuff to get attention, to get that household name, not necessarily, perfecting or getting to a certain level in their craft to get to be a household name. You know what I'm saying? I kind
I
of see
agree.
it's like, oh, you got the most attention because you did some dumb shit, and
I
now
agree.
everybody knows who you are because you were on the local news.
Right.
Type. You know what I mean?
Right.
So how do you, what are you seeing as far as marketing yourself? Are you pushing the fact that you're this like multi-talented guy? Are you pushing your art and your music at the same time? Because I saw on your page where the art and the music were colliding. Is that deliberate or is that just?
I look at it like they work in harmony with one another.
Absolutely.
They bring me their gifts and they bring me back gifts. And at different times. And sometimes it's all about catching a bug. I might catch an art bug and want to paint for a long time. I might catch a music bug like I feel like I've had lately and want to create a lot of music in a short amount of time. And, right now I have a history bug where I've just been reading and researching history,
Really? What have you been researching? Me too.
History is just infinite stories.
Yeah.
It's just never-ending stories.
Right.
I feel like anyone who loves movies should love history.
You seen any really good movies lately?
If I have to think about it, I guess not.
I
I can think back though. Oh, you know what? I
Yeah.
saw Platoon, Oliver Stone's first movie, for the first time a few months ago, and I remember that was the last movie that really floored me.
Really?
I thought it was awesome.
What about it made you feel like that? I don't remember Platoon. I'm sure
Platoon,
I've
that was
seen
Oliver
it.
Stone's first movie. It won a
Yeah.
bunch of Oscars and all
Was
that
it in
good
the
stuff.
80s?
It was like 89.
Okay, I've seen that.
Yeah, it was right on the turn of the decade.
Yeah.
But it was just ground zero war at ground zero. I think they did a great job of showing all the ugly truths of war.
Yeah.
You know, they really dug into what PTSD is. And I think it was masterful. That was the last movie I was really say I saw that was great, that I'll remember for a while.
You ever go back and see an old movie and have a whole different perspective of it at a,
All the time.
like from your age perspective?
time.
Like, I need to go back and watch some movies because there are some movies that I've seen when I think I was just way too young. I didn't get it. Like the other day, there's a movie that is Halle Berry and
Heath Ledger.
no, Halle Berry. Let me see. It's called Their Eyes Were Watching God.
I've heard of that, but I never saw it.
It was
though.
like an Oprah Winfrey production or something, but it was
Okay.
Michael Ealy is her co-star in that movie,
From Barbershop.
which she ended up dating after they filmed that movie together back then. But it was a really good movie. But even at the age I was when it came out, I don't think I got it like I got it now. That's a really
Right.
good movie. I like movies that were filmed in the early 1900s during Reconstruction, early 1900s during Reconstruction, or like just
You mean movies that were shot then, or movies that like take place?
movies
back
that
then?
take place
Okay,
back
okay,
then.
gotcha.
Yeah, because the movies that were shot then are coming
Right,
from
that's what I
a
was thinking,
real horrible perspective for our people.
Yeah,
anyway,
I agree.
You
yeah.
know, so yeah, only because it kind of makes us remember that regardless of how and what we've been through, we made it and we celebrated and we got married and we had kids, and how our resilience and our strength. I think that those movies should be put out in front more often.
I agree. I don't know how Marcus Garvey doesn't have a movie yet. I don't know how Haile Selassie doesn't have a movie yet.
Yeah. Yeah.
But even if they make a movie, you got to ask, is it going to be a great movie? I think the reason Malcolm X was such a great movie is because it was based off of his biography that he wrote.
Yeah.
And I think that's why a definitive Dr. King movie and a definitive a lot of guys' movies haven't been made, or at least when they are made, they're not as great as Malcolm X because it's always from someone else's perspective. But I
Did
think
you
Malcolm
see
X
Who
was special
Killed
to give
Malcolm
us.
X on
Netflix, I did see it. Yeah, I watched the whole thing. What'd you think of it?
I'm from Newark, so
Newark, New Jersey.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I was born in Long Island, but I lived in Queens. Only for
really?
like the first 3 years of my life or something. But I
Yeah.
go back a lot though.
So for me, it was probably different than it was for a lot of people because I saw a lot of people in there that I know, and I was just
That
like,
must have been crazy.
oh, okay.
Yeah, that part was crazy when he went to Newark to look for the guy.
And he died.
I couldn't believe that. That's crazy. That almost sounds like too good to be true, or too bad to be true, or whatever. It just sounded like perfect timing. Like right when he gets there, the guy dies.
So he didn't. Yeah.
That's hard to believe, but
Did you see it yet? I don't know. Should we spoil it for people?
oh yeah, I didn't even think about that. Yeah, I'm sorry, people. Yeah, hopefully they'll cut this out, or you'll watch it by now or
It's
something.
been out for what, 3 weeks now?
So
it's
what
been a
happened
while, right.
with the Who Killed Malcolm
Shame on
X?
It's
y'all.
like a real story, so we know, like.
That's the thing that disappointed me a lot was I thought it was gonna be different. I thought it was like a Netflix documentary, like how Netflix made the
No,
Bob Marley
this dude
documentaries.
was about that life. Like
Yeah,
he
yeah.
was
He was in the
going.
streets.
He was in the streets.
He was in the streets.
Heavy. Yeah. No, he wasn't playing.
And
like
you saw
his-
people kept telling him, just leave that alone. And he kept digging anyway. But people kept telling him to just you don't even need to look into that. But he kept digging anyway. He was really bold with it.
So for years and years, me being from there, I've heard stories and I've heard, and you just hear stuff and you're just like, oh yeah, right, whatever. Like,
Streets say a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
Can we curse?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
We're not like,
Oh, no, I
on
understand.
NBC or CBS where we have those guidelines and
No,
those rules.
I would understand.
Yeah, but no, feel free. So you hear the stuff, you let it go on one ear and out the other, but apparently what happened was the guys that actually assassinated Malcolm X there was a series of unfortunate events that led to this one tragic day. But it was between the police and the feds and this one organization of the Nation of Islam who had a mosque in Newark. And because the cops weren't really on their job, because it was him and Malcolm X didn't get that much protection, and because it was, the Nation of Islam has their own security, and because they were kind of in cahoots, allegedly, with the head, because he was felt disrespected, which was at the time it was Elijah Muhammad, because they felt like he was disrespected when Malcolm X kind of just went and did his own thing. You know, they wanted him out of there. So because the cops weren't around, because these people came from Newark, and Newark has always kind of been in the shadows of New York. I mean, you think Newark ain't on some grimy shit, and then you see, you know.
I always knew Newark was grimy, you know, but everywhere was grimy though.
Right. I mean,
You know,
there's
everywhere
grimy in
was
every
grimy, right.
major metropolitan
Queens was
city.
grimy. Atlanta was
Queens
grimy.
had the right,
You know.
but you know, Newark was always just kind of like in the shadows, and it wasn't because we didn't have a lot of shit going on, but it was just because we kept our shit on the low. Whereas I feel that people from New York feel like they gotta, I'm from, you know what I mean? Like kind of just like say who and what, and we just kind of were just like, oh, that's great. You know, we're right across the river, and we're doing shit on the low, except stealing cars, which kind of, you know, that kind of got a lot of notoriety from Newark. But
That was in New
shout
York,
out to
too.
Newark. Shout out to my hometown, my home city. It's a great place. I'm proud to have grown up there. It taught me a lot. It made me who I am. I don't have anything bad to say about any of those people, other than the fact that, you know, you kind of grow up thinking one thing, and then you just kind of, now you're just kind of looking at everybody with the side eye.
Hey man, it just is what it is, you know.
So
Roses grow from the concrete.
yeah,
You know what I'm saying?
know,
And
exactly.
the gutter instills, I feel like the gutter instills intangibles in you that you can't get from any type of training or any type of upbringing. It's just,
I say they
there's
want,
something special
and that's
about
where
the
our
bottom.
rhythm comes from, and that's why I always say they want our rhythms, but not our blues, right?
Right.
So did you leave here and did you grow up in Atlanta?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
Where?
Grew up
What
all
part?
over Atlanta.
Oh yeah.
The only part I hadn't lived on really was the side of town I just moved to. So that was the last place, was the south side. So I've lived everywhere else. I lived on the west side, lived on Candler Road, lived in Chamblee area, lived in Stone Mountain.
Wow.
I've been all over.
So what's your favorite part of Atlanta?
I mean, Atlanta changes so often that it's you know, it doesn't stay the same anymore. You mean like my favorite part, like ever? I could give you like
I
a
guess,
location
like, right
and
now.
an era.
Right now. Yeah.
Right now, I'm really feeling certain parts of the west side and the south side because they're just in growth periods. You know, it's springtime over there. They're in growth periods, you know. But I like different things about east side of town. I like that it's a lot of black ownership on the east side. You know, I like that it's bougie on the north side because, you know, I got to go to that side of town for stuff too.
What's the north side? Is the north side where we live?
I don't mean bougie in a bad way. You know,
No,
I'm bougie.
It's two norths.
Is this
North
north?
and the north. So you got Gwinnett. That's the like.
Oh,
that's,
is that what you meant by north?
You talking about that or
No, all of it really.
That's not Atlanta though.
Marietta is north. Marietta's considered north, right?
Okay, so
Yeah.
I
yeah,
don't
no,
get-
Marietta's like far north. Yeah,
so
yeah.
what's
Well,
north?
I lived on like I
Gwinnett
lived
is
in-
not in Atlanta.
No, of course not. No, I lived in
So what's
like,
North Atlanta? I need to know that right now. Is that where we
It's
are
like
right now?
Brookhaven area, right?
Where's Brookhaven?
Sandy Springs and all that.
Yeah, all of that. Yeah. From Brookhaven, Sandy Springs is further than Brookhaven, so it's like
Okay, so where we live?
like Chamblee.
Okay,
Yeah. Where do you live?
Smyrna, Vinings, and all
where the
Right,
baseball
right.
stadium is.
Oh, y'all live far north then. You live far north then. Okay. Yeah. Okay.
Sandy Springs is further.
Sandy's. It might be. They both far. They both pretty far. It might
Y'all
be.
15 minutes from here.
Well, they both pretty far from me.
Yeah, from the south side.
Yeah, and really,
live on the
I'm
south
closer because I used to live. I just moved from Gwinnett. That was my first time living in Gwinnett. But Gwinnett's far. Well, you know, it's all relative.
It's all relative.
Yeah, it's all
because
relative.
for me, everything is far.
Yeah, everything be far
This
from
is
me
the
too.
furthest I go. Edgewood. That's my spot.
I'm
That's
on
where I hang
Edgewood all
out.
the time.
That's where I go when I need. If it's past, if I gotta go to East Atlanta, which I do once or twice a year, because that's where a lot of good parties are. A lot of good
Mm-hmm. Yeah, a lot of
DJs
stuff,
are there,
a lot of
and
good
a little.
spots.
It's a nice little dope kick it spot. I mean,
Yeah, I love
Edgewood
it. I
could
love
be
it.
like that.
I think
soon.
Edgewood's like that too. Just not
It's
quite
not
as much.
not yet, but you
It's
know
on
it
its
could
way.
be. It's on its way. We need Edgewood. We have a lot of people that have great businesses on Edgewood. If we
Mm-hmm.
just get a few more, it will be just like East Atlanta Village. East Atlanta Village is a great spot to hang out for everybody. If you really want to get a taste of what Atlanta is, I would say go to East Atlanta Village. But people like to go to places they see on television.
I think that's a great spot. That's a great spot to recommend.
No one goes there though. I mean, they do, but like more natives go there. More people that come visit Atlanta want to go to the places they see on Instagram or the places they see on reality shows, because everyone's perspective of what Atlanta is, or everyone's idea of what Atlanta is what they see on reality shows.
And that's so crazy, because I remember a time when the only reason tourists came to Atlanta was for the Dr. King Center, really. And maybe the Coca-Cola factory. That really should still be at the top of the list, but now that's an afterthought almost to a lot of people. They'll go to Magic City before they go to the King Center.
Yeah, what's up with that?
It's Atlanta's becoming a number one export of America's pop culture, a certain type of America's pop culture, just like Hollywood is.
Is that good though? Is it good? Is it a good representation of American culture? Are we giving them?
No, of course not. No, it's never going to be the real representation of American culture, but it's a representation.
Recently, there was some people that were protesting and boycotting and bringing attention and awareness to sex trafficking, right?
Yeah. I went to a few meetings about that.
And where was the protest at?
I didn't know
the
about
actual
protests,
physical protest.
I don't know. I was by where Tassili's Raw Reality is.
No.
It's on Ralph David Abernathy.
Oh, okay, not far from here.
Yeah, it's not far from here. Yeah, I've been to some of those meetings too and heard about those.
Sex trafficking?
Yeah. I've heard some crazy stuff. I've heard testimony from victims who have escaped allegedly. It's crazy.
Wow.
Crazy.
So I always say to people that bring it up and that, go to these things, and I'm like, I have a perfect place that you could protest sex trafficking. And that would be, or if you really want to just try to stop it or try to, intercept some, you should definitely go to the Greyhound station. The Greyhound station is...
Where is that exactly?
Down the street from here. It's right by Magic City on the other side, across the street.
Yeah.
So there's a strip club.
Cam Kirk Studio.
There's
right there too, right?
Yeah, yeah. There's a studio. So there's a strip club. There's a bus station that you can get anywhere in the country from, right?
Wow, I didn't know that.
And there's the MARTA station right in this one block, on this one corner.
Right.
So I always say, if there's someone that is really interested in seeing something go down, or not even seeing something go down, if you want to help somebody out of it, I would start there. That one little block.
To protest?
Yes.
I'm not even sure if protesting is the move, though.
I mean, they want to bring awareness. I'm pro-protesting. I'm pro-make noise. I'm pro-fight the power. That's me.
John Henrik Clark, I think it was John Henrik Clark, said that black people can do anything they want as long as they don't run and tell everybody about it.
Yeah.
And I think there's some truth to that. I'm not against protesting, but I don't know if it's always the best thing. Because sometimes when you have a problem with something, saying nothing is the best thing you can do for a while. Especially when history has shown you that a certain train of thought and line of thinking will get you killed. So I think, I'm not saying don't protest. I'm just saying be mindful.
Do you think that it's
doing.
still like that? Do you think that we have any strong black leaders that if there were, which we know that there is, but if, we're not going to, but if they wanted to silence someone, they would have to kill them? Do you think we have that strong of a leadership right now?
You said, is it strong enough so that they could...
Yeah, do you think there's a threat? Because I know...
A threat to what now?
A threat to... So, you saw the Who Killed Malcolm X documentary, and they were saying that the president at the time, along with the head of the FBI, said that they were trying to prevent the rise of a black messiah.
Right.
50 years later, today, do we or have we seen that black messiah or the potential for a black messiah?
I think the next line that J. Edgar Hoover said in that statement was, Malcolm X may have been such a messiah.
Absolutely.
And to me, that was almost like an admission of guilt, almost.
Absolutely. There was so much admission of guilt in that documentary.
There have been plenty of black messiahs. And, I mean, history has shown us that they die. That's what happens. That's...
I think that the hip hop, the the Black Messiah would have been born from the hip hop culture or were part of the
His
hip hop culture.
name was Tupac.
Absolutely.
Yeah, his name was Tupac Shakur.
The closest thing
he was
we
a
had
child
to
of the revolution.
The closest thing we've seen to that would have been Tupac,
Right.
and he was killed.
Right.
So I guess the answer to my question is yes.
And Bob Marley was like that in Jamaica, you know. And a CIA agent just recently admitted, I think like 2 years ago, on his deathbed that he killed Bob Marley. He could have been lying, but I think that's kind of odd.
People say stuff nowadays
and people do say stuff for attention, you know.
For attention.
But whether or not he's lying or not, I think there's proof when you do the research that that was definitely something that was on the table. So I think it'd be silly to rule that out when you look at what's happened to everyone else who's tried to rise a Black Messiah, you know. So.
Do y'all think we have the potential for one right now? Is there anybody in the game you see rising to that? Or I don't even think that people are trying to do that anymore. I think the money gets to them, or the love of money, or the fame, just starts to supersede their desire to deliver people or teach people or bring people up.
Yeah, people. I mean, first you have to be enlightened. You know, you have to be.
Yeah. I mean, because
you have to have it in you.
So you do, right? Because you enlighten people with your music. I mean, your name is Wize, after all, right? What made you come up with that name? Did you want to make people understand that that's what your duty was? That what your music was going to be about?
Not at all. Actually, I just watched Goodfellas, and I thought it was really dope.
The Wize Guys?
And then I went and read the book Wize Guys that it was based off of, and it was really just like I was just being dorky and just, you know, I wanted to be a gangster, and I was a little teenager.
Aww.
You know, but then I got older and it just stuck, and you know, people would call me that because they'd hear my music, so they would just it just stuck, you know. So I just rolled with it.
So what's your inspiration? Is it like current events? Is it your childhood growing up? Is it your family?
I mean, inspiration comes from everywhere.
Yeah.
You know, inspiration chooses you, so you can't even turn inspiration on and off. You have no control over inspiration, so you just have to live, and inspiration will come. And I get inspiration from everywhere. I get inspiration at the most random times of the day.
So you use it? You use it for, you have so many different talents, so you can go in any direction. Like, you just bust out and write a song. How do you know? Like, oh, I'm gonna write a song. Oh, I'm gonna draw a picture. Like, how do you do that? See, I don't have any of that, so I don't know. People that do that, I always just kind of make me. I
think everybody.
I don't have an imagination. I think that the older you get, it kind of like your imagination kind of just.
Well,
I don't know.
Interviewing people is an art form.
You think?
Yeah, it's an art. It's an art to, you know.
So maybe that's my talent.
Yeah,
it is.
Right. That is a talent. That's a gift.
And I think even like, I know me as a creative person, I didn't realize I was a creative person until like probably like 2 or 3 years ago.
And see, it's sad because school doesn't encourage
Yeah,
creativity,
they
so
don't.
you don't notice till later.
I always, like, when I got to thinking back on it, I'm like, man, I've always been creative. Like, I've always done creative stuff. Like, I've always been a creative person, but I just didn't realize, I didn't label it, I guess.
Right.
When I was little, and I just remembered this a couple years ago, my you play with dolls or whatever. You know what we used to do? I used to pretend I was a talk show host.
You see that?
And me and my friend, we could have been like 8 or 9 years old, and the name of our show was Woman to Woman.
And kids always telling themselves that way. All you have to do, the way you're supposed to educate kids, you're supposed to watch them and let them tell themselves, and then they'll tell you what their gifts are, and then you build around the gifts.
We had a show theme and everything. It was Woman to Woman.
I think the thing too about being a creative, like, you so creative and it's just normal to you, so you just think
Right,
that's
you don't
normal.
even pay it any mind. You're
And
just
that's why I
like,
didn't realize, because I'm like, this is normal.
Right.
Like, I thought everybody thought like this. So I
Right,
thought everybody
right,
see
right.
things like this.
Yeah,
and that's
that
how
could
come
be it.
a lot of geniuses are out of step with reality. You know what I'm saying?
It's
Because
hard
they think a whole different way than everybody else. You know. It's
So what are you
crazy.
doing now? What are you working on?
I just released my second EP, and I'm getting ready to continue
name of
promoting
it?
it. It's called Awake and Painful.
Is that
Yeah.
the new one? Because I saw that
That's
on
the
your
new
page.
one,
So
yeah.
okay.
And the first one is Aware and Moving. I dropped that in January of last year and dropped Awake and Painful in November. And God's willing, I got another one coming this summer.
Cool.
You know, and there's some more promotion coming up. I don't want to tell all my secrets. You know, I don't like to talk about things till they happen because, you know, I'll jinx them and stuff. So
Well, you got to promote it, but we're just going to tell people
I'll
to
promote
follow
it when
you.
it
And so
happens.
whenever it
Yeah, there you
happens,
go.
they'll see
There
you.
you go. Good answer. Great answer.
All right. Well, we look forward to seeing everything that you're gonna do. So, what are you gonna tell the children? Are you still gonna work with children? Are you gonna? Do you tell them that hey, I'm a rapper after this? When you were teaching, what did you? Did the kids know how cool you were?
Oh, they thought I was the coolest person ever, but not for any of the reasons that they should. Well, I mean, I don't know. Maybe there's some good reasons too. But no, I wouldn't tell them that. I would tell them the truth. I would sneak the truth into the curriculum. Even though it's
Did you sneak it into the curriculum?
yeah, you got to sneak it in there.
Did you like teach them stuff via song or art? What did you? How did you?
Just anytime I'm really, I was like I had a co-teacher. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
so
like
we
a
would both.
teacher's
Really,
aide?
it was like a few of us. Really, it was a lot of us. They would have some come in for special needs kids, and
Right.
certain teachers would teach certain skills and stuff like that. But whenever I was alone with them, I'll sneak some truth in there. That's all.
Okay.
That's the most you can do and still keep your job.
Right. So, are they strict with the curriculum in school now?
Yeah. I mean, that was my experience anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, do you think that you would like start your own thing or tutor kids or something like that?
I would love to be part of a homeschooling network. I'm actually looking for some. I haven't really found any. I found some people who are interested, but it takes time to build.
Okay,
But,
homeschooling network. Anyone get at him?
Right.
Get at him.
Homeschooling network. I don't have much to offer but myself, but
No, you do,
That's-
and you
that's
have
a
your
lot, though,
perspective
I
on
promise.
life. And I
Right.
think that we need to see more black men in teaching roles, leadership roles, mentorship roles. Period.
word.
Also, we need to have more black organ donors. I needed to slip that in. I don't know where
I really
that
thought
came
about
from,
that
but
one.
I really recently lost a close family member, and I saw something on Good Morning America recently too, where there was a young black man who was looking for an organ donor, and they just said that there's a real, need for more black people to become organ donors. So we're gonna put that out there. Recently, the judge deliberating in Harvey Weinstein's rape trial indicated that there's a deadlock on the most serious charges that he's been charged with. I just wanted to.
What do they mean it's a deadlock?
So that means that, the jury is split on their decision. So there's not a majority of them that think that he's guilty.
Oh, okay. It's not enough of them to convict him.
Right.
Okay.
Right. On a couple of the charges, they're not 100% sure that there's no shadow of a doubt. It's rough being a guy out here these days, so you guys got to be careful what you say and what you do.
I don't expect to be justified by the laws of man. That's what Bob Marley said.
Bob Marley lived in Jamaica, and I'm sure that their laws are different than ours. And
What
he was
laws?
right. Right.
What laws?
So there's a couple of other things that were going on this week that's coming up that you guys, Kobe's memorial is on Monday. Well, by the time you hear or see this, it will have been happening already. So next week we'll talk about everybody's reaction to that. I know that they're going to do it really big for him. Out of all the people, I think they said 90,000 people requested tickets to be able to be let into the stadium. And out of that, they only were able to give a couple thousand out. So it'll be interesting to see how that goes. It's still pretty unbelievable that he's gone, actually.
I'm still processing it.
Yeah, it's hard.
It bothers me referring to him in past tense. I'll catch myself mid-sentence, and I'll just change it to present tense just to make myself feel better.
Yeah, it's rough.
I don't even like
It's
thinking
rough.
about that.
And also Pop Smoke, who is a rapper from New York, he was killed last week in Los Angeles. I really wasn't familiar with the young man's music, but
I was just about to say that. I didn't know who he was, but,
it's sad when anything like that happens.
yeah, it's always sad.
And it's like recently a lot of young people that just get into the game and they just gain their popularity. It just, you think it's jealousy? You think it's gang violence? What do you think?
It's all of that, all of the above. My people suffer from lack of knowledge.
Yes, that's one of my favorite quotes.
I think
Knowledge of self. I
Knowledge
always
of
like
self.
to say
more
that.
the power of
Knowledge
the
of self.
tongue.
I think that
I mean,
that
you gotta
too.
think about, like,
The kind of energy you
it's
put
not
out.
saying that, you put,
I think that the
even like with
energy-
Nip, like,
No, that's very true. That's very
Nip,
true.
always talked about death. Pac
That's
always
very
talked
true.
about death.
That's
Biggie
very
talked
true.
about death. Like,
That's very true.
You got the guy that Pop Smoke. his song when it you send the Addy, we gonna slide or not. You know, that's what you know. And look what happened.
Right.
Somebody.
I never heard anything that he ever said, so I don't know. But I think that is true. It's not right, but that's one of the laws of the universe.
Right. I thought about that with
the energy you put out, it comes back. It's not right or
Yeah.
wrong. It's like some things you are undebatable. The universal laws are not debatable. That they
Right.
just are what they are. So
Right.
you have to be careful, and especially when you reach that magnitude of fame, because the energy is now magnified.
The universal law. Nature functions on a system of checks and balances, and they don't bend for anybody. 'Cause
Period.
None of us are bigger than nature.
No.
We're part of nature. Even though we want
Yeah.
to be overseers of nature and dictators of nature and all that, but we're part of nature. So it's about time we get with the program,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah. So yeah, we're gonna wrap up soon. Anything else you want to talk about? Anything else you got going on?
More music on the way, more painting on the way, more building on the way. I've been getting big into agriculture, and I've been affiliating with some people who have some numbers of some knowledgeable people who are building a lot. You know, I believe in Detroit right now, there's like an agricultural revolution going on
Yeah.
that I've
They're
heard
trying to
about.
rebuild Detroit, so they're
Right.
starting on the right foot.
Right. You see what happens when roses grow from the concrete?
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? Hip hop came from the concrete. You know, the South Bronx in the 70s looked like Vietnam, literally.
Literally.
You know, that's probably the closest the United States has ever looked to a third world country. And hip hop came from that. It's $1 trillion industry, you know? So, anybody want to build, just follow me.
Wize
let's
Guy
build.
ATL.
Yep, Wize Guy ATL.
And you know, I'm gonna give
And we
you a
also
little
have
bit,
events too. We have an event on the first weekend in April.
which is next weekend coming up, which will be this weekend.
April, not March. April.
Oh shoot, I don't
Yeah.
know what month
Don't
it is.
fast forward time.
Sorry.
I need it. Time is the ultimate currency.
Right.
I want all the time.
So yeah, I'm gonna say before you leave that you should get on Twitter, because Twitter to me, if you're marketing and promoting, is a better tool. Instagram is still, but there's still some untapped people out there on Twitter that might be interested in your music. They're more creatives to me on Twitter. There are more.
I'm not qualified to speak on Twitter, so I just have to accept everything you're saying.
Yeah,
is
no,
true.
I think that
I might have to do that then. I mean,
Just check it out.
The
Check it
characters
out.
thing always bothered me. Like, how many
Yeah,
characters
that's-
do you
hey,
have?
listen,
Like,
these-
nothing I
they-
have to say is that simple.
They made it so that you can add more. Yeah, it helps you, and I think
And you
that's
know, if
that's
you can't
why.
explain it simply, you don't really understand it. So maybe I'm doing something wrong.
Yeah,
Maybe
you
you're
should
right.
get on Twitter.
Yeah, I might do that tonight.
You can make a thread.
So if you
Yeah,
gotta
you don't have
continue
to
what you
stop
want
It's a lot of work though. I want to write a
No,
whole
just
essay
you push
now.
plus and keep going.
Instagram, I can just write whatever I want, you know. But I feel you though. No, I'm gonna get on Twitter. If it'll expand the brand, I'm gonna get on Twitter.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
have my word. Matter of fact, I have a Twitter. I just never log into it. I made a Twitter. Same time I made an Instagram like 5 years ago or something. I just don't log
See,
into
there
it. So
could be somebody
I'm gonna
in there.
reset my password and get back to it.
Yes, you should.
Yeah.
And then follow us, and we'll follow you. And I'm gonna make one too for this.
You don't have a Twitter?
I have a personal Twitter, but I'm gonna make one for the show.
Oh, okay, cool. Okay, gotcha.
So I'll let you guys know when I do that. And yeah, follow me on Twitter at Kymmy Coco. And he's going to sign on to his, so you can follow him there too, Wize Guy ATL. And if not, he is on Instagram at Wize Guy ATL because I follow him. And make
YouTube.
sure you guys, yes, get on YouTube, subscribe to our channel.
Got cool stuff on my channel.
And is it Wize Guy ATL on YouTube?
Yep.
Ours is Innovative Black Station, so make sure you subscribe. And if you are on Google Podcasts from Google Play or Apple Podcasts on Apple or Spotify, you can listen to our podcast. This one will be, and all of them actually, their new episodes are on Tuesdays. And our YouTube video where you can see us, hello, is on Thursdays. So make sure you follow us, you guys. We will check you out next week. And Wize Guy ATL,
Call
thanks
me
for coming
Wise.
by. Wise. I
Yeah,
always say,
everybody calls me
I'm one of
Wise.
those people that you see on the street, and I'm just like, hey, Chocolate Boy 220 from Instagram. Like, I don't know you, so that's what I call you. And you need to answer me back because that's the world we live in. Let's just be honest.
Yo, I actually had a moment like that in the Cayman Islands. I seen a chick that was so beautiful, and I recognized her from Instagram. And I didn't say nothing, but in my mind, I'm like, oh my goodness, that's at so-and-so. I couldn't believe I said that, but it'd be like that sometimes.
Yeah, hey,
Yeah.
I don't get mad. Hey, people say this, hey, Chocolate Girl, wonder, hey.
Right,
like,
right.
okay, that's fine.
Right.
Let's do
They've
that
made
because the way,
fame more accessible than ever now.
Right.
You know, fame is more accessible than ever now. That's probably a bad thing, though. It's definitely a bad thing, really.
It could be. It could go either
It
way.
could
It
be.
depends
It could
on
be.
who
It
you
depends
are
on
and what
you.
you do with
Right,
it.
right.
It
It
doesn't
depends on
change you. It
you.
makes you more of who you are. Who you were.
I can get with that. I think there's some truth in that. I think there's a lot of truth in that. I think getting us from a young age makes it an unfair fight, though.
Oh, absolutely. I think
know,
there's
it
going
makes
to be
it an unfair
lawsuits
fight.
in 2050 from children whose parents like put their bodies and their likenesses on social media when they decided they didn't want to ever be on social media when they became an adult, and I think they're going to start suing their parents. But
Right.
when that happens, make sure you guys remember me, because I won't be here anymore. So, all right, guys, we
Don't
will
say that,
see
you
you.
never know.
I'll be here in a different form. How
You will
about
be
that?
here, right. Because energy never
I'll be
dies.
one of those babies suing my parents for not.
Hey, you just spoke it up. It's going to happen.
All right, guys, we'll see you next week. So make sure you follow us and check out Wize. Peace.
Have a blessed night.